Welcome to our live Tri-Ship World Oceans Day Google Hangout. Today we are joined by Kelly Elliott from NOAA's Office of Ocean Exploration and Research, who represents NOAA Ship Okeanos Explorer, Megan Cook from Ocean Exploration Trust, and Paul McCowan from Ocean Networks Canada, who are sailing aboard exploration vessel Nautilus. And last but certainly not least, Colleen Peters from Schmidt Ocean Institute, who represents research vessel Falkor. I'm your moderator for today, Carly Weiner, Communications Manager for Schmidt Ocean Institute, and I am so excited to be talking with all four of these amazing groups. World Ocean Day is a global celebration of the ocean held every June 8th. While this is our second year holding our Tri-Ship Hangout on World Oceans Day, the day has been celebrated since 1992. It is a time to focus on how we can help and learn more about our oceans, and one of the best ways to do this is talk with experts who work for organizations that focus on research and exploration of the ocean year-round. For the next half an hour, we'll learn about how these teams accomplish this and what it takes to run a research vessel and the important work that we're doing. First, let's start by giving a quick overview to each of these organizations and how they are helping to people to understand our oceans. Let's go with Megan at Ocean Exploration Trust.
Ocean Exploration Trust is an independent nonprofit that owns and operates exploration vessel Nautilus, whose mission is to explore parts of the planet that are not well understood, to develop the technology and the tools that it takes to go to those places and explore them, and then to use our exploration to inspire the next generation of explorers and STEM professionals. Exploration vessel Nautilus has traveled all around the world since we acquired the ship in 2008 and has explored in the Black Sea, Mediterranean, Aegean, Atlantic, Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico, and now we're in the Pacific Ocean.
And Paul, what about Oceans Networks Canada?
Ocean Networks Canada is a not-for-profit at the University of Victoria on Vancouver Island. It's an entity that has installed and maintains ocean observing systems, long cables in the ocean to areas of scientific interest. We have observing systems in the Pacific, the Arctic oceans, and also we manage data from those sites as well as observatories in eastern Canada. ONC supports evidence-based decision-making on ocean management, on disaster mitigation, and on ocean and environmental protections.
Excellent. Let's switch over to Kelly. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your organization?
Sure. So NOAA's Office of Ocean Exploration and Research is the only federal organization dedicated to exploring the global ocean. And we work with partners to identify priority areas for exploration that explore through several routes. This includes cruises using the NOAA Ship Okeanos Explorer, grant funding that we provide annually to the scientific community, as well as partnerships with others, such as the Ocean Exploration Trust or other federal agencies that allow us to combine resources and explore more efficiently. OER also supports innovations in exploration tools and capabilities, and we have a big emphasis also on encouraging and training the next generation to pursue careers in ocean exploration and related fields. In terms of helping people better understand the ocean, all of the data and information that's collected during our expeditions and the research that we fund provides stakeholders like ocean resource managers, the academic community, and the private sector with the information that they need in order to identify, to understand, and to manage ocean resources, both for this and for future generations.
Thanks, Kelly. Colleen, you want to tell us a little bit about Schmidt Ocean Institute? Colleen, you're on mute. Can you try again? Well, while Colleen's trying to work out the ship connection here, I can tell us a little bit about Schmidt Ocean Institute, which is dedicated to research, doing cutting-edge advanced work in the oceans, looking not only at technology and how technology can help to protect our oceans, but to better understand them. We also have quite an extensive outreach and education program doing connections through ship to shores like these, as well as community presentations. Thanks everyone for giving us a little bit of an overview about the organizations. I want to really jump over to Kelly here at NOAA Ship Okeanos and talk a little bit about dry dock, because that's something that we don't get to do every day. Kelly, can you provide us a brief summary of what your team has been focused on and some of the largest accomplishments you've had in the last year?
Sure. So far, well, right now, actually, we're at the end, nearing the end of a 3-year effort that's been focused on collecting foundational information in deep waters of U.S. marine protected areas in the Central and Western Pacific Ocean. And this 3-year campaign is referred to as Capstone. That's the Campaign to Address Pacific Monument Science and Technology and Ocean Needs. And it's had many successes. Most of the areas that we've been operating over the last 3 years have never been seen before by human eyes. And so far, we've been able to conduct 21 cruises using the Okeanos Explorer, and this has included 145 remotely operated vehicle dives. So live video of our operations are streamed to shore, and from those cruises, they've received more than 14 million views. So that means that we've been able to share the excitement of ocean exploration with millions of viewers around the world in real time as we've been exploring. And during these dives, well over 1,000 different animals were observed, and there were biological discoveries in almost every ROV dive. And this includes new species and new range extensions for animals that we hadn't seen in certain areas or at certain depths before. During these cruises, we also mapped more than 442,000 square kilometers. For reference, that's an area larger than the size of California and about the same size if you combine Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. And these mapping operations really revealed some fascinating undersea geology, but it also revealed some previously unknown seamounts. These are undersea mountains, and we didn't know that they were there before. And these operations have also strengthened our partnerships with other agencies and partners in exploration, like those of you here today. So that includes the Ocean Exploration Trust, Schmidt Ocean Institute, and this year we've also been working with Ocean Networks Canada. And we've also worked with outstanding scientists from the academic community as well. But perhaps most importantly, we've provided opportunities for future explorers by training mapping students through NOAA's Explorer and Training Program and engaging hundreds of students through our live telepresence interactions and providing ship tours while the ship was in port.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Megan. Kelly. Let's go over to Colleen. It looks like Colleen's been able to connect back with us now. Colleen, you want to tell us a little bit about Schmidt Ocean Institute and some of the cruises that Falkor has conducted? I know they spent quite a bit of time in the Pacific in the past year or so.
Hi, Carly. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you great.
Okay, excellent. Schmidt Ocean Institute is a nonprofit organization geared towards the development of new technologies and the open sharing of data. SOI provides the research vessel Falkor as a platform for scientists to conduct their research. The schedule for RV Falkor is built upon the projects that are selected for each given year. And this takes the ship all over the world, working with scientists from a variety of different countries and cultures and studying all different disciplines of science. So this makes the cruises very unique. No two are generally alike, and some have different focuses. Some may focus on the exploration of new seafloor, the discovery of new environments and species. Others may focus on the development and testing of new technologies, and others may focus on the preservation of areas of the oceans, such as potential deep mining sites from commercial activities. So we have quite a variety of different cruises on board, which makes it very exciting because we always have new challenges here and get to go to new places and work with new groups.
Thanks, Colleen. Let's switch over to Megan. Nautilus is currently in the Pacific Ocean, also conducting work in Canadian waters with Ocean Networks Canada. Can you tell us a little bit about what's planned for this expedition and a little bit more about what Ocean Networks does?
take that one?
Sure, that sounds fine. Basically, this trip is the next 2 weeks. We'll be offshore Vancouver Island, maintaining our existing system, the 800-kilometer loop. The offshore observatory goes to 5 different major science sites. This is going to be a complicated maintenance trip because we have a fairly long cable that needs to be maintained, recovered, and repaired. So soon we'll have a 2-ship operation. We have the Nautilus supplying the ROV to be able to sort of see what's going on the seabed, and to have a large cable ship come and actually recover a cable from the seafloor. So it's a partnership. And we have to work together, 2 ships in close concert, in order to be able to pull off this operation. And we have a host of other sensors and instruments that need to go in on the observatory, as well as some that need to come out for repair. So it's going to be a busy 2 weeks, and we're going to be at least 4 or 5 sites to be able to do all of this work.
Excellent. And NOAA Ship Okeanos Explorer, as I mentioned, you're just starting a dry dock period, or we're in a dry dock period. And this means getting the ship pulled out of water for maintenance. And this doesn't happen all the time. So tell us a little bit about what your group is doing during this period, and how long does this process typically take?
Yeah, so the ship is in dry dock right now in Honolulu, Hawaii. And the scheduled maintenance for this period actually began in late May, just after completion of our Mountains in the Deep expedition. And just like routine maintenance is required to keep your car running properly, ships need maintenance too. So while the ship is in dry dock, our maintenance crew and engineers will be cleaning and painting the hull. And this is important not just for speed and maintenance, but also because this is where the transducers are mounted, which are used to collect the data to map the seafloor. Crews and engineers will also be providing routine maintenance of the bow and the stern thrusters, and maintaining the diesel engines, which create electricity to power the ship and propulsion motors. And once this period is over, we're really looking forward to getting back in the water and continuing our exploration activities near the Johnson Atoll unit of the Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument next month.
Excellent. And going back to you, Colleen, on Falkor, Falkor has just come out of dry dock period and literally is finishing sea trials today before its next mission. Tell us a little bit about what goes into the maintenance of the ship, and what happens at sea trials.
Sure, Carly. The shipyard period is a very critical time for the ship's crew, much like Kelly just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Colin, you froze up on us, so we're going to switch over to Ocean Exploration Trust for a minute, and we'll give you a chance to talk a little bit about the sea trials in a minute. Megan, I know you also have been doing some work at sea, and all 3 of our research vessels that are here today use ROVs to better understand and explore the deep sea. Would you mind explaining what an ROV is and how it's being used?
Sure, I'd be happy to. An ROV is a remotely operated vehicle, or you can think about it like a robot in the deep sea. Remotely operated vehicles are special because they are robots on leashes. They're always connected to the ship. They very often have names. People give them little different personalities based on their own capabilities. Our remotely operated vehicles are named Hercules and Argus. They work as a team, and they're a good example to think about a general ROV, in that we send power and commands down to the ROVs through the cable and the tether that connects them back to the ship, and they stream data and video, high-resolution video, back to us on the ship. That allows not only the scientists who are physically on board the ship at that time, but also our collaborators and partners who are participating in our exploration all around the world, and also a global audience to see what it is that we are seeing in that moment, and really be there at the moment of exploration. We very often use remotely operated vehicles because these robots are quite large. Our 2 robots weigh 5,400 pounds. For Hercules, he's about the size of a minivan at 11 feet long, 9 feet tall, 7 feet wide, maybe a small minivan. And they're able to be equipped with all types of different sampling tools and sensors, things like water sampling equipment, sediment sampling equipment, biological boxes that can collect creatures from the deep sea, suction samplers for the delicate bodied organisms in the midwater along the seafloor. And they're also very efficient because these ROVs are robots. They don't need to eat, sleep, go to the bathroom. So rather than people going down in the deep sea, all of our organizations benefit from being able to send a tool, a remotely operated vehicle, down into the deep sea and then stay at work for long periods, sometimes 12, 24, 48. ROV Hercules' personal record is a dive more than 3 continuous days long. So they're great tools, and they really allow us to do a lot of environment that's otherwise very foreign and very harsh.
Excellent. And I know OER also has an ROV, but it differs a bit from Ocean Exploration Trusts and Schmidt Ocean Institutes. Kelly, can you explain how ROV Deep Discoverer works and what you do with all the video that is collected?
Sure. So we have a dual body ROV system, and the 2 vehicles that work in tandem are called Deep Discoverer and Sirius. So Sirius is connected to the ship via cable that also sends power and telemetry to the vehicles, like Megan just described. And Deep Discoverer, which we've nicknamed D2, and yes, that is a little bit of a play on R2-D2, is tethered to Sirius. So while Sirius can feel or absorb the movement of the ship on the ocean, because this movement is translated down the cable, D2 can explore more freely. So just to visualize that for a moment, here if you've got the ship bobbing on the ocean, there's a cable connecting it to the Sirius right here. So as it's moving, that's being translated down the cable, Sirius is moving. And then we have a separate tether that connects the ROV Deep Discoverer to hang out just under beneath it. So while this is moving because of the motion of the sea surface, ROV Deep Discoverer is able to move very precisely and able to stop and do incredible close-up imaging on whatever feature, habitat, or animal that we're interested in. So our pilots from the Global Foundation for Ocean Exploration control these vehicles from the control room on board the ship. The maximum depth that they can work at is 6,000 meters, which is about 20,000 feet deep. And each vehicle is equipped with powerful lighting, cameras, including high-definition cameras, and several sensors that continuously collect environmental data about the area that we're investigating. So the main vehicle, Deep Discoverer, weighs about 9,000 pounds, and that's in air, and has 20 LED lights and 9 different video cameras, including a couple of high-definition cameras. While in the water, Sirius, which is referred to as the camera sled, always hovers above and illuminates D2, giving the pilots a bird's eye view of Deep Discoverer while it's exploring the seafloor. So Deep Discoverer also has 2 manipulator arms that are capable of collecting samples. And these samples are then made available to the scientific community. And actually all of our data, including the video that we collect, is made publicly available as soon as possible. And this allows both scientists as well as non-scientists from all over the world to learn more about life in the deep sea.
Excellent, thanks. And it looks like we have Falkor back with us. Colleen, do you want to pick up where you left off? Are you there?
Sure. Sorry, Carly. We're turning some circles here, picking up our pilot as we're headed into port. So that's why we're dropping out occasionally. It's just part of the job. So I was talking about the shipyard period and our sea trials. Exactly how far I left off. But basically, we spent about 3.5 months in the shipyard making some pretty major improvements to the ship. Integration of 2 new generators, which run more efficiently and more quietly. Maintenance on our gondola, which is the housing that holds our acoustic sonar systems. And then we overhauled the ship's network to make our data transfer much faster for the scientists. As time goes on and more technology gets developed, there's more and more data and it takes up more and more space. So we have to be able to support that. And then finally, we finished the integration of ROV Sebastian by bringing all the electronic equipment into the science control room. So next week, we'll be testing that more specifically. So right now, this past week, we've been spending a few days offshore testing all of our acoustic systems and getting a more precise acoustic profile of the ship. And our preliminary reports from these few days are that the ship is performing much more quietly than it has in the past 5 years. So this is really great because this means that we're going to have some really excellent and very clean acoustic data. So mapping is our bread and butter because you can't really go explore with sensors and vehicles unless you've mapped first. So it's very important for us to make sure that these tools are working at their most optimal. I think hopefully that a little bit, Carly. Do you
Well,
have
I'm
any
sure
more
the
questions
scientists,
about that?
yeah, I'm sure the scientists will be very happy to hear about the mapping. And we've talked a lot about the different ROVs on each vessel. And I know Falkor has the new ROV Sebastian that is 4,500 meters capable that we have just brought on board our first science cruises in December. And looking forward to a lot of dives with Sebastian later this year along Emperor Seamount and in Hawaiian waters, and later on in the year in the Phoenix Islands. But ROVs are not the only underwater tool that's used at sea. Colleen, can you share a little bit more about some of the other technologies that Falkor uses? I know you touched a little bit already on the mapping.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had about 5 different ROV systems on board, but we've also had AUVs, which are autonomous underwater vehicles. So that allows us to put the vehicle in water, it goes off and runs a mission that's pre-programmed by the team, and the ship can either follow along or do other operations in conjunction. We've also had gliders, which work fairly similarly. We've just this past year had a UAV on board, unmanned aerial vehicle. So that was the first time that Falkor supported those kinds of operations, and that was very successful. We've also got, as I mentioned, all of our sonar systems. So we have 2 multi-beams, a fisheries sonar, single beam sub-bottom, and our acoustic Doppler current profilers. We have a number of sensors that we can deploy, tow magnetometer, we've towed seismics, and a variety of nets as well for biological sampling. So we've done kind of a little bit of everything, which is what keeps it really interesting here on board. But one of the sort of most important technologies that we have on board that we don't talk about all the time is not just the stuff we use subsea, but what we use right here in the control room, which is the digital matrix. This is really the most widely used and most important piece of technology that we have, because this allows us to configure the control room for any of our operations with a touch of our iPad app. So we can switch the screens that we're looking at based on the operations that we're trying to conduct. And what this allows us to do is switch between ROV and mapping operations in particular really easily by just changing what we see on the screens. And we have a lot more operator stations that we installed this past year so that people can really sit around the control room and not just have to work only at the console. It can get quite crowded. So keeping that flexibility really allows us to do the most with the space and the equipment that we have.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Colleen, for sharing that. All 4 groups with us here today have been dedicated to sharing the research that is conducted on board and the findings that are made. Megan, how does OET share the work that they are doing, and how do people get involved?
Happy to share that. All of our organizations benefit from a technology group called Telepresence. And Telepresence was really pioneered by the founder of Ocean Exploration Trust, Dr. Robert Ballard. It is the idea that you can transport people using internet technology almost anywhere in the world and give them the experience like they are on the ROV or in the control van like we do. Our efforts are really concentrated around a large digital internet outreach, watching on nautiluslive.org. Anyone in the world 24 hours a day is able to join exploration vessel Nautilus and its core of exploration as we are anywhere in the world that we're working right there. Our website is live and participatory, so it gives anyone in the world the chance to send their questions in or their comments. No question too simple. We really want to invite the world to feel what it's like to be an explorer and to understand the many different pathways that people have taken to get onto the ship and the many different ways that they could see themselves in a career that uses science, technology, engineering, math, or a technology that, or a career that relates to the ocean. We have many different ways to get involved, anywhere from just tuning in to a live broadcast, which we will be live broadcasting the next 6 months. This is our longest and most ambitious season, so anytime between now and the end of November, you can find us out at sea doing exploration. But we also have the chance to really use our ship as a sort of like a teaching hospital for ocean exploration. It's really a grounds to train the workforce in many different fields, and we're really proud to run programs like our Science and Engineering Internship Program, which brings undergraduates, graduate students, and recent graduates, early career folks out to work on our ROV team and our ROV engineering internship, to work on our broadcast technology and filmmaking, digital storytelling internship through our video engineering internship, our ocean science internship, and seafloor mapping to help understand the questions and sort of the hypothesis-driven work that we all do to understand via scientific method all the things that are yet out there to question and to understand about our ocean. We're also really proud of our partnership with the U.S. Coast Guard Academy and the U.S. Naval Academy to bring our navigation interns out to sea with us. We also have programs for educators. There are science communication fellowships, so we get the chance to bring teachers or museum educators or writers or artists out to sea with us to work on that 24-hour-a-day pace. That's a great way to get involved. There's more information about all of our programs and all of our organization's programs on our website, but we certainly invite you to come exploring with us because this is just kicking off the start of a great big season for our organization. We had the chance to answer 57,000 questions through the website last year, and we're looking forward to making that number vastly larger this year as our season has expanded by about half, an additional half on top of what we did last year. So send us a question.
It's a good time to learn about the ocean and ocean exploration. There are so many different programs offered by all of these great organizations. I know Schmidt Ocean Institute has a student opportunities program as well as an artist at sea program, as well as all of our dives are live streamed on our YouTube page. Colleen, Falkor is starting a series of 5 back-to-back expeditions starting on June 22nd. Where can people go to learn more about these cruises and what is planned?
Yeah, Carly, everybody can go to first our website, www.schmidtocean.org, SCHMIDT, ocean.org. And each of our cruises or expeditions have their own page on our site that includes information about who's sailing with us, blogs about what they're doing on board, the research that they're conducting, highlight videos produced by our outreach media consultants. And we also have social media, Facebook, Twitter, and as you just mentioned, we also broadcast our ROV dives on YouTube. So YouTube is a really great resource because we record them on YouTube so you can see past dives, all of our highlight videos, and a bunch of other activities that we've done over the past 5 years are already there on our channel. And then upcoming this year, as we start broadcasting, you can find links to the dives so you can watch them live from any of our social media sites and our website.
Thanks, Colleen. Let's go over to Paul from Ocean Networks Canada. I know you're not only working with Ocean Exploration Trust, but you work through the entire year. How will the work that you are doing connect with other research, and how can this research help us to better conserve our planet?
Thanks for the question. We're basically working with a number of different groups, depending where the observatory is, whether it may be local resources. In this case here, right now, we're expecting some support from Cable Ship in order to do the kind of operations that we're doing. And in terms of the science and understanding the ocean, there's a vast number of possibilities with the cabled observatory system. Value of the cabled observatory increases every year as you begin to record the background information of the sites that you have equipment at. Begin to see the changes that take place 5, 10, 15, you can imagine 50 years into the future, you will have those details to see exactly what the changes are and hopefully be able to make educated decisions on how to be able to mitigate those issues that are arising. So some of the kind of projects that we're working on right now that are of interest are, we have an early earthquake warning system which we're installing. This is a system that basically will give an alert if it detects the P wave, which is an advance of the big shaking. So that's the kind of information that we could then broadcast to the Western communities along the subduction zone here to make things safer. We are moving into a program where we're beginning to listen to the ambient noise levels in the ocean around ports and in the open as well to be able to understand just how much noise pollution there is and how it may be affecting marine life. We have a fun project which we're going to get to see a little later in this trip is Wally the Crawler, which is a moving tractor on the seafloor which is mapping out methane and vents. And we're going to be recovering that to the surface for some repairs as well. We have a huge number of instruments in all of these observatories that are constantly running. So although I personally don't have time to look at it all, the hope is that people are looking at it and that the changes that we see are going to help us make good decisions in the future.
Excellent. And Kelly, I want to jump back to you. Ocean plastics are an increasing concern, and one of the themes highlighted for this year's World Oceans Day. Have you seen much plastic during your time at sea?
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, we have seen evidence of human garbage nearly everywhere that we've explored, from plastics floating on the surface to derelict fishing gear to garbage in the deep ocean. Last year, we even found a spam cam while exploring near the deepest part of the ocean, the Mariana Trench. And I think that this is really just a reminder to all of us that we as humans can do better to keep the garbage from ever entering the ocean at all by reducing, reusing, recycling, and refusing. And note that NOAA's Marine Debris Program has some great ideas on how to celebrate World Oceans Day on their website. So please go online and check that out.
I like the refusing piece of that. That's fantastic. That's great. And Colleen, speaking of plastics, I know there's an upcoming expedition focused on microplastics in the deep sea. Can you share a little bit about what you're expecting on this cruise?
Yeah, absolutely. The Falkor will be sailing from Oregon to Dutch Harbor, studying microplastics in the Gulf of Alaska to better characterize organisms in this region and determine the impacts that and the extent that microplastics have an effect on these deep sea systems. So what's interesting here is that, like Kelly, I've had a very similar experience seeing a number of debris sailing around the ocean, some big and some small. But it's really the microplastics, which are bits of plastic debris that are less than 5 millimeters in size. Those really are the most harmful to our environments. These microplastics get digested by a variety of organisms, and this all just gets passed right up the food chain. So we'll be learning about that a little bit more on our upcoming expedition, but I would like to mention, just kind of touching upon what Kelly was saying, anything that you can do at home to reduce the amount of plastic that you use, like refusing to use grocery bags from the store, plastic straws, individually wrapped plastic items, and especially microbeads. Microbeads are found in a lot of cosmetic items, and President Obama signed a microbead-free Waters Act, which will be a phasing out of the microbeads used in these personal care products over the next couple of years. And so trying to reduce your use of those kinds of products will really make an impact. Another interesting project I came across was the development of an item called the Cora Ball, which was brought by the Rosalia Project. In this device, you put it in your washing machine and it will pull out all of those microfibers that essentially wear off of your clothes during the washing cycle. And instead of them washing down through the sewage system and into the ocean, you can just collect them in this ball and dispose of them properly. So these are just a few ways that everybody can do a little bit at home to contribute to better conservation of our oceans.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thanks, Colleen. And, you know, what's visible on the surface also affects the deep, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about the microplastics cruise coming up, because it's going to be looking at how some of these small bits of plastics and microplastics affect the deep sea. On a more positive note, I want to switch over to Megan and talk about what makes you hopeful for our oceans and the work that's being done.
I think there's a lot of wisdom in the fact that we celebrate World Ocean Day. There is a lot to be positive and hopeful about, not only just what an exciting time we live in, that we have these technologies and tools to go explore the ocean right now, but what really makes me the most hopeful is the piece of our mission where we get to inspire the next generation of explorers. I think a lot of times we think about explorers and it may be a painting of someone who's wearing like a raccoon hat and pointing off into the distance, and that's what an explorer looks like. But the generation who are in middle school or high school right now, those are going to be the great explorers that we read about for the rest of our lives, because they are poised right now to understand our planet in ways that were never possible before. So it's always very hopeful for me seeing the amazingly talented young people who get to come onto our ship and the educators who are just full of fire to return to their classrooms after an experience, either watching Nautilus, connecting with us at the museum, or getting to come onto the ship. That idea that we can light a fire or fuel a fire for a whole other generation of people who are going to be the stewards of our ocean and the great explorers of our ocean and the great protectors of it as we start to understand more about it, that's tremendously exciting to me, and it never gets old. So whether it's you want to become an ocean explorer with a Facebook like, or a little heart on Instagram, or if you want to watch 23.5 hours a day with the live feeds of all of our vessels, jump in. There's a lot to learn, and there's certainly a lot to be excited about.
Well said. And World Oceans Day is not just about doing, but learning more about our oceans. And all 4 of these organizations that we're talking with today do amazing work with underwater robotic vehicles, exploring some of the parts of the ocean that have never been seen before. Let's recap some of the opportunities that will be coming up for people and ways that they can engage. Let's start with you, Paul, with Ocean Networks Canada.
In terms of, sorry, the question was the opportunities to engage?
Yeah.
We have essentially everything that we produce, data, information, images, video, that's all readily available on our website. And we have different events that we participate in order to involve the public. So really, I encourage everybody to go to the oceannetworks.ca website and explore the database there. It can be a little overwhelming because there are so many instruments that have been running for so long, but there's a great deal of information there.
Excellent. And Megan, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. We also have the ONC Abyss hashtag that you can keep track of. We also have all of the video streaming from the Nautilus also will be on a website, on the Ocean Networks website, Wiring the Abyss.
Excellent. And Megan, I know you've already shared a lot of the website and ways people can engage, but anything else you want to highlight or recap?
We just hope folks will come join us on nautiluslive.org or on our social media is a great way. A lot of these groups that are here do it, but if you follow us on social media, that's where we send our dive alerts. And you can get on our newsletter, which is where we'll let you know when big, exciting dives are coming. Our exploration is in biology, geology, chemistry, maritime history, and human history. So whatever your favorite is among there, do follow us on our many channels so you can be sure you can be right there at the moment that we come upon a shipwreck we're investigating, or a seamount, or maybe the next sperm whale, or googly eyed stubby squid, whoever the next internet hit of ocean exploration will be there live. And I hope you will join us.
And how about you, Kelly? What can we expect, or where should we go to follow Okeanos Explorer?
Sure. So we're going to be back exploring the Central Pacific this summer and would love for people to tune in. In July, we're going to be headed to the Johnson Atoll unit of the Pacific Remote Islands Marine National Monument, where we'll be mapping and exploring the deep waters. We're going to have ROV dives planned daily from about July 14th to July 29th, focused on exploring many seamounts actually that have never been visited before, including a few that were recently mapped by the research vessel Falkor in support of our capstone effort. Later this summer and in the fall, we're going to be also exploring the Musician Seamounts group, which is located to the northwest of Hawaii. And as always, video of our ROV operations and our mapping operations will be streamed live to shore throughout and are available on the oceanexplorer.noaa.gov website. And you can also follow us if you like on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and we are also on Instagram. You can just use the hashtag Okeanos.
Thanks, Kelly. And I know Schmidt Ocean Institute and research vessel Falkor has an exciting summer planned. Colleen, do you want to remind our viewers where they can go to follow some of our live streams, our ship to shores, and our daily blogs and weekly video blogs?
Absolutely. So coming up shortly here on the RV Falkor on June 22nd, we'll be departing on our microplastics trip, which is a train straight across the Gulf of Alaska. From Dutch Harbor, we'll then head down towards Hawaii, exploring the Emperor Seamount chain, looking at deep porosity, building the ROV station. We'll be live streaming our video to our YouTube channel. That cruise will collect high-resolution video to help fisheries commissions and other management authorities identify habitats that are vulnerable to trawling impacts. So following that one, we'll have a few cruises looking at the sea level rise and the impacts that has on global climate change. And after that, we'll have a lot more expeditions coming up in 2018. And all of that information will get posted soon on our website. So to keep tuned into what cruises we have coming up, take a look at our website, www.schmidtocean.org, and to get some little tidbits from our current operations. Keep on checking into our Facebook and Twitter accounts for all of the excitement as it happens. All of our highlight videos can be found both on our website, posted on social media, and really our biggest repository for all of this exciting videos is our YouTube channel. So we have, again, everything that we've done so far, and then we'll have our links for upcoming dives and broadcasts and outreach events as well, all posted on our social media and website.
Thanks, Colleen. And if you forget any of the social media, at Schmidt Ocean, and we connect a lot too with Ocean Exploration Trust and NOAA Office of Exploration and Research. And so you can see posts from today there as well. I want to take an opportunity to thank everyone for joining us for our World Oceans Day Hangout and for participating, not only just to the people who are here on our Hangout, but for those of you who are watching. We hope you will continue to be engaged and take advantage of all the opportunities that are out there to explore our oceans right from the comforts of your home. Remember to follow Nautilus, Okeanos Explorer, Oceans Network Canada, and Falkor on their social media channels for updates, and stay tuned for more videos and live streams in the upcoming months. Thanks again for watching us, and most importantly, remember to take care of our oceans. Happy World Oceans Day, everybody.
Happy World Oceans